always been a problem. Working with lots and lots of human beings is very difficult. But the shift that is happening is that now companies don't have to hire a lot of human beings, can work with lesser human beings, but get a lot more things done because all these clusters that you're seeing on the screen, these are all AI agent clusters. So every employee can have 4 to 5 or multiple different AI agents working for them. And the employee, the human being, is managing these AI agents. Yeah, it might be sounding like a psychic world at this point of time, but this is truly happening. In fact, we will also talk about agent swarms to all of you, right? And we will show you how agent swarms also work. And you will be mind blown because it's like multiple AI agents being launched and working and doing things for you at the same time on your computer screen. It's mind blowing, but this is what is happening. And while this is happening, like I was saying earlier, the biggest opportunity that people are able to tap into right now is in consulting. A lot of people have started doing this. In fact, Raghuveer, who is taking over in the next 5 minutes, he himself has become from being a growth leader at companies like Uber to now becoming an AI consultant. You will hear his journey and you'll be like, oh, this is also something that people are able to do today. And becoming very, very successful at it. Because when you have a core understanding of business and core understanding of AI, you will be able to add a ton of value. And the beauty is that at this point of time today, even if it's 2026, a lot of people are still not learning AI. So for all the people who want or at any point of time had the vision of having their own consulting agency or firm, this could be the right time. Now, I quickly want to take a minute to talk to the entrepreneurs and hustlers, not more than that, because all the entrepreneurs and hustlers are always in this zone of bringing in efficiency, right? So I'm sure you all, have already done your research about how you could be using AI, and probably you are attending this training so that you can learn the know-hows of how to use it while having thoughts in your mind already. But the future is going to look very, very exciting as you are an entrepreneur, right? If you have not focused already on saving costs, start doing so. And that is the mindset shift that I would want you to have from today and tomorrow, right? Start, how can I make myself more efficient? How can I make my company more efficient? How can I help my company save more money? All these are the thoughts that should be running in your mind at this point of time. And the time that it used to take to build a company and then go from idea to launch, go from launch to your first million, or going from your first million to becoming a unicorn, these milestones or the time span has times the time required to achieve these milestones is now decreasing because of the efficiency that AI is able to bring in, irrespective of the kind of company, irrespective of what stage your company is currently in, right? Now, I want all of us to take a pause and I'll play this quick 30-second video, right? Because you've been hearing me talk about this for almost the past 10 minutes, and you might be like, funny, this is great. But is this something that you have come up with? No. Let me play this quick video. And this is Sam Altman that you're seeing on the screen, right? He's the founder of OpenAI, the same company that launched ChatGPT as well when things started changing all across the world. I want you to hear something that he says.
Highly performant, smaller teams, thanks to these tools and these technologies, you're going to be able to do so much more. Is that a trend you're seeing from the startups growing around y'all in Cerebral Valley?
We're going to see 10-person billion-dollar companies pretty soon, like billion-dollar valuations. And the thing that in my little group chat with my tech CEO friends, there's this betting pool for the first year that there's a 1-person billion-dollar company, which would have been unimaginable without AI, and now will happen.
I'm so happy you said that because I literally just wrote.
I hope you got that. I hope you heard what he said. He goes on to say that today, 1-person led billion-dollar companies are being formed. We will sort of give you examples of that as well, of people who are able to do it. You will understand their journey, understand what they did to make that happen for themselves. But no matter who you are today, it's important for you to build the generalist mindset. And that is going to be the single point agenda for us over today and tomorrow, by helping you understand how to make better use of this technology that all of us today have access to. And to get started, I told you we have divided this journey into multiple levels for people, right? What we are going to be seeing in over the next 3 hours, 2.5 to 3 hours, is level 1 of that journey, where before we start using the tools, we need to understand what this technology is, how does it work, how to make better use of it, what are all of the options that we have in this space and everything around it. And for that, we have Raghuveer joining in. And I've also requested Raghuveer to sort of talk about his journey as well to all of you, because as I was mentioning, he went from being a core working professional to becoming a consultant, something that many of you would want to do going forward in your own lives. So Raghuveer, firstly, thank you so much for being here, taking your Saturday morning out, and showing that enthusiasm to come and share your learnings with all of us today.
No, absolute pleasure. What, 11,000 odd people today?
Yeah.
Yeah.
If I have
Wow.
to reveal that, people are going to be very excited as they hear the number.
Yeah. So, I'm very glad to be here. I wouldn't be anywhere else because I feel like the world is changing, especially the way we work is changing as we speak. Um, it's already shown us so much
Yeah.
this year in terms of progress that it does feel insane. And just a couple of days back, we had two new frontier models being released by the foundational companies that are building these models, which means we have 4.6 from Opus, from
Yeah.
Claude, which is again doing insane on benchmarks and real world use cases. And we have GPT 5.3.
5.3.
So
Yeah.
what used to take like 2 years per model release is now like 3 months or 4 months. So the capabilities of the models are increasing. If we don't kind of match up in realizing how best we can use them, then we will lag, right? So I always say this, that AI is like a tsunami, right? But you still have the ability to surf it. If you just keep waiting, you'll feel like you're drowning. You'll feel like you're hearing a lot of layoffs. You'll see all the negative side of it. But if you're trying
Yeah.
to just stay up to date and surf the tide, then you'll feel like you're on top of the world, right? Just imagine surfing on top of the tsunami. You'll see the entire world visible to you. So that's probably a great analogy to the way technology is moving right now.
Perfect. I think we can get started with the
Amazing.
first session itself. Folks, quickly let me know on the chat if you're able to hear Raghuveer well and if you're able to see him well. Pumped up for the very
Awesome.
first session. Perfect. Let's get started,
I'm going to
Raghuveer.
take over screen sharing. Quick tech check. Can everyone confirm you can see my screen?
Yes.
Awesome. Let me get the chat in order. Folks, a few housekeeping announcements as usual. Please set your phones on silent. Phones are the biggest distractions during learning for all of us. We know it. Try and eliminate as many distractions as you can. I'm still a big believer in pen and paper. Ensure that you're hydrated, you have your water bottle around. Pen and paper is something even Sam Altman stands by. So if the guy building ChatGPT is still standing by pen and paper and he goes through a notebook per week, then I think we all can also make notes. So while this is very futuristic technology that we'll be talking about, some of the fundamentals still remain the same. It's impossible to cover every single hack. So what I'm going to do is I'll try my best to spread the use cases to as many verticals or functions as possible so that most of you can find some use cases, if not all, relevant. But like I said, it's impossible to cover what 10,000 odd people like or need in their lives, right? So we'll try and see how much we can expand in terms of surface area of use cases. Hopefully everyone goes away with something that they can use in their real day lives, right? Today's session, particularly in this overall mastermind, is focused on showing you the possibilities, right? Understanding the basics and then showing you the possibilities of what the AI world is currently at. And basis that you can make some assumptions on how you would be using it in your lives. And the future sessions that come in the same mastermind will take you through that journey of how can you make them a reality. So keep your mind open today towards all the possibilities that are there with AI. Don't worry about, can I do this, can I implement this in my company, and other things like that. Just let the enormity of what is possible sink in today. You will see the ways to execute it in your future sessions. Now, that's the first thing I wanted to get out of the way. Now, the second thing, and the more important thing, all of you are here, but why am I the one taking the session, right? So, I wanted to give a quick intro. My name is Raghuveer. Everyone calls me RV. I'm a marketer for 10 plus years. Began my career in advertising, then moved on to marketing. Then I realized that product is where my mind really is at. So became a product manager for 5 plus years. And for the last 2.5 years now, I've been an AI generalist. Way before the term was cool, way before the term was coined, even. I'm just retrofitting that to, oh, this is what I do. Maybe that's what I'm called, right? So I've been privileged and lucky that way that I got into the space very early. I've also been privileged to work at some amazing places like Uber, like Nas Daily, some very, very different cultures of teams that I've managed to experience across the globe. Now, when we look at a CV like that, it's always fancy, right? But I want to be vulnerable. I want to be, one in the room because even I'm on my learning journey, right? So I want to show you how I got here. It's a path that began with being a photographer. So I always wanted to do creative work. Then I realized photographers get work from agencies or studios. Then I moved on to agencies. Then I realized that clients give work to agencies. So I moved on to the client side, which is at Uber, where I became a product marketer. Then I realized that if you don't have large teams, you can't do big work. So I started leading teams. And then I eventually founded my own company. And then it went a whole circle where I'm back to being a solo operator as an AI generalist. But again, this part looks like, wow, this guy seems to have some things figured out. He has a good trajectory. But the reality is, at large, I was a super frustrated guy at work, right? My day would begin with, hey, I'm super excited today about this idea, to my boss just denied me the budgets. Or I'm super excited about, building this feature. My developers telling me that, hey, we are, packed in the sprint and we cannot do this in this particular week. So every time I wanted to kind of get forward at pace, I would feel blocked, whether that's by people, whether that's by processes, and whether sometimes it's just by things, right? It was super frustrating to be that way, to feel that way, even though I felt like I was moving fast. And to fix this, for the last 2.5 years, I can proudly say that being an AI generalist unblocks almost all of these blockers, right? You just feel larger than what you were as a professional, and you feel like your capability set has expanded. And I've seen that in my own skill set, right? Earlier, if I had to do like 20% of all of these, right, for the last decade or so, the T-shaped marketer is something that is really been coming into the fore, where you need to learn multiple skills and specialize in one. I was doing the same thing, but I realized that with AI, I don't need to be T-shaped, right? I can just be a big block. If I learn 20% of research, analytics, content, growth, CRM, writing, and UX, then with the help of AI agents, AI assistants, and AI models, I'm able to kind of supplement that and get to an 80% in many fields within a very, very short timeline, right? And even if the fields are evolving, the time taken to just update and get there is becoming very, very fast. So I literally feel like I flipped the finger on on how the processes work at various corporates, and now I feel much more confident because I'm running my own consultancy and I'm able to run this as a one-man show with the help of AI assistants, kind of helping me on the side for the different verticals that I have. Now, I'd like to read the room. I'd like to understand who we have today. And it's hard to understand that in names, so we'll try and understand that in color. So we'll open the chat. Let me know, where are you in your journey? Are you someone who's been learning multiple things and becoming a generalist, or are you someone who spent a lot of time in one vertical and you are kind of a specialist? And you can be somewhere in between as well. I see some yellows and oranges coming through. Okay, lots of students in the house. So I'm assuming students, where are you? Are you learning all subjects, or are you learning one subject that you love? All right, more colors coming in. Lots of greens. So I feel like the world is definitely moving towards a trend of generalism in general. But I do see that we have our fair share of reds and maroons coming in as well. Specialists, where are you? Represent in the chat, please. Lots of oranges today. Lots of very self aware people who know that, yes, I know a few things, but I can be deeper in some things, or the other way around. Nice. I like this. Okay, we have a fair mix in the room. The good part is that AI applies on both sides of the spectrum. So this is not a filter. This is just an exercise of self-awareness so that you know that, okay, if I'm a specialist, then I have a massive advantage and I can learn a few things that were blocking me on the side and then gradually become a generalist. And if I'm a generalist, I can become an expert in one topic that I really choose to deep dive into. And I can do that really quickly with the help of AI, right? So that's the mindset that we want for the rest of the week. And I hope that, all of you can see the possibilities that I'm showing you today. Now, in the last 6 months as an AI generalist, been able to do three very important things to me. One is launched a startup in the fintech world called Regality AI. This helps with cross-border transactions. So any money that's coming into India, how do you follow regulatory compliance for that? That's what Regal advises on. Very complex topic, but it's built again with a two-person team. One is a domain expert in the space of finance, and the other is me. The second one is my consultancy business called as Build with RV. And it's the place where people can reach out to me, companies can reach out to me, and they can figure out how they want their AI strategy to be within their company. This is what Funny was talking about. And this is my recent pivot, right? In the last 3 or 4 months, I've been able to solicit clients purely on the basis of how much, spread I have in terms of the AI field. So being an AI generalist is actually becoming a needed skill out there in the market. I'm living proof of that. The third is ADHD lifesavers. I got diagnosed when I was 32, and I realized that I have different systems to most other people. So I said, I'm going to document all of this and give back to the community. So this is me kind of giving back to the ADHD community. Anyone who's battling with that can go check it out. It's an interesting way to kind of navigate life with ADHD, right? So three different things, all of it built on my own. Earlier, I had ideas, but not the means to build. But now I feel like I've been cooking and I'm here to share all of these recipes with you. Shall we get started? All right, let's go. Now, let's begin with the absolute basics, right? What is Gen AI or generative AI and how does it work? Now, generative AI is the form of AI that we've been interacting with because we've started using it to create original content, such as text, images, and videos. And it does that by learning from a very large set of data that it's been trained on, right? At a very fundamental level, it's technology that has read a lot, that has absorbed a lot, and it's able to regurgitate and generate new content for you when you ask it something, right? Now, if you look at where this is coming from, and it's interesting to understand the space because the word artificial intelligence, which is the outermost circle, was coined back in 1954, right? So it's not a new concept as such. It's been over 50 years since we've been hearing the term, so it's been very broadly defined. And the general consensus is that if you cannot tell whether a machine has done something or a human has done something, then that machine is artificially intelligent, right? That's a very, very generic term. And you can notice this by seeing things around you, right? Everything is today AI ready or AI native or AI first. Everything is being marketed in that fashion. Now, that's the problem with AI becoming a very, very broad term. So let's go one level deeper, right? How did it get there? The first level is called as machine learning. In machine learning, the machine learns how to recognize patterns. And how does it do that? By learning from large sets of data that we provide to the machine and we label those elements in the data. So, for example, if I show a machine 100 different images of cats to its camera, and then I say this is a cat each time I, kind of show it, then it's starting to learn the patterns of what the label a cat means. And over a period of time, if you show it an image of a dog, it can say it's not a cat, right? It learns that, okay, it needs to have pointy ears, it needs to be furry, it needs to be small, it needs to have certain amount of canines. All of this data it's accumulating, and it realizes that a dog is not a cat. Now, the real magic happens when you show it a tiger. And because it's from the cat family, it'll probably say 50% cat. Right? That's when it's starting to answer questions that it did not know before, because we're not just showing it a dog which is not a cat, but we're showing it something from the family and it's still able to answer. So that ways you know that the machines learned a little bit, right? This is a very simplistic explanation, but it's enough for us to get started. The third is where we try and copy our brains, right? Which is deep learning, the third circle that you see. Now, deep learning is where let's do a thought exercise, right? Imagine your closest friends, right? Just close your eyes and try and imagine them as, blobs in the air. Immediately a few names come to your mind, right? And from there, imagine your, closest family. Then go to your second layer, second circle, right? People who you're probably not very close to, but they still matter in your life. Then you think of acquaintances or people at work and things like that. So you can start imagining a map in your head, right? This is similar to what a neural network feels like. There's big blobs and there's connections between the blobs. And the best part about a neural network is instead of labeling things, instead of telling that these 1,000 images are of a cat, you just give it thousands and thousands and thousands of images of cats and thousands of images of dogs. And over a period of time, it starts to differentiate by itself and it knows that this is a different creature and this is a different creature, right? So, deep learning is where you're able to make machines learn without even labeling data. And that feels like a big leap, right? You're not even telling it's a cat, but over a period of time and enough data, it's able to recognize that it's a cat. And that is one of the fundamental elements to the AI that we use today, because everything that we do today is with large language models. So whenever you're talking to Chat GPT, you're talking to a large language model. Whenever you're talking to Claude, you're talking to a large language model. Whenever you're talking to Gemini, you're still talking to a large language model, right? So behind all of these assistants, there is a large language model that is, powering these assistants. Now, we've all experienced this where the first time you use ChatGPT, right? You would have just gone ahead and said hi. And then it said something like, hi, how can I help you? Right? So we see that we given an input and it magically starts putting an output out there. And we've never actually thought about what happens in between, right? How is it doing this? How is it taking a random question of mine and getting back structured replies that feel like it's talking to me? Let's decode that. Now, I'm going to take a very meta question here. So, explain large language models to me like I'm 5 years old. We're trying to understand large language models. That's where the last slide left on. And we're all getting started, right? So, let's do it like I'm 5 years old. So, it's a nice mnemonic for you to get answers in a very basic form. Now, the first step that the computer does is this guy is typing in English, but I don't understand English. So, let me break whatever he sent into smaller tokens. Right? You can see the colors at the bottom. So each color is an individual token. So that query that